My Name is Earl.
My Name is Earl.
This is another show that I love because it's more realistic in the way that everyone just kind of sucks, but they're all doing the best with what they have. The description of the show says that Earl Hickey, which by the way, I would hate to have a last name like Hickey. Could you imagine? You would get picked on so much. Anyways, Earl Hickey is an unrepentant, no good doer with a long list of things he's done wrong in life. All that changes when he wins a small lottery and in a swift twist of fate learns the meaning of karma. Do good things and good things happen. Now Earl, along with a quirky group of family, friends, and a particularly troublesome ex, is on a mission to right all his past wrongs and one by one cross them off his list. And I absolutely love this show. I love comedy shows that have a more realistic view on the world and normal everyday people. There are a lot of these shows where like people are supposedly poor, but they all live in these like huge houses. Like how were they able to afford that? The cast of My Name is Earl is also one of my favorites. Every single character is perfect. I love it. Also, the girl who plays Joy in this show, she's in a lot of other really cool, funny movies and shows, one of which I would really love to talk about at some point on this channel, but we'll save that for another day. Let's talk about the pilot episode for My Name is Earl. I absolutely love going back and re-watching the pilot episodes to see like where the show started and then how it ended up. And usually by like the second to third season, they've kind of figured out the formula for how they want the show to go. And so it's fun to go back to the pilot and the first season and just kind of see the beginning of what these shows become. But anyways, so we start the pilot out by meeting our main character as he gives us a description of what kind of a guy he is.
The kind of guy you wait to come out before you and your family go in? Well, that guy is me. My name is Earl. And if you took the time to really get to know me, find out what kind of person I truly am instead of just stereotyping me because of the way I look, well, you'd be wasting your time.
It honestly is perfect because it shows you exactly who he is. He's not a great person, and it sets up what this show is about. Then we cut to the bar where we meet Joy and get their quote-unquote love story between her and Earl, where Earl was so drunk that he barely remembers it. We also get the start of this running joke on the series where every single time Earl gets his picture taken, his eyes are closed, and this is something I can relate to so much. It is honestly so annoying. I love when shows have these like little running jokes, you know, and they're consistent with them, and it's just something small and funny that doesn't take up too much time. I love it. Anyways, we learn that Joy is 6 months pregnant with another man's baby, and when he's born, they decide to name him Dodge because the only thing Joy can remember about the baby's original father was that he drove a Ford. And if you guys have seen this series, you know exactly who this baby's father is. But like, honestly, would you want to name your kid after this like one random dude you hooked up with and like you never saw again? I don't know. Anyways, then a few years later, Earl and Joy have a kid of their own, but the only problem is they're both white and surprise, the baby's black. But you know, like, I guess that can happen. Genetics are weird like that, right? They name him Earl Jr. And of course, Earl knows that Joy cheated on him, but he calls himself a good for nothing. And then we meet Randy, Earl's younger brother, who lives on their couch. Then we cut to the bar and we meet Darnell, also known as the Crab Man, who works at the bar. He is definitely one of my favorite characters from this show. He's just always so chill, and his backstory is literally insane. Like, I absolutely love that episode so much. It's probably one of my favorites. Anyways, it becomes very obvious that Joy is cheating on Earl with Darnell, and Earl is completely oblivious to it. Earl talks about how their life is really nothing special until one day he gets a winning lottery ticket. He then celebrates by running into the middle of the street, and wouldn't you know it, he gets hit by a car because that was such a great idea. Joy then tricks Earl into signing divorce papers while this poor man is laying in a hospital bed after being hit by a car and losing his lottery ticket for $100,000. Like, I would be in shambles at that point. This is when she also reveals that Darnell and her are getting married. Who would have saw that coming? And then we learn that Earl Jr. is actually his son. Or is he? I am still not okay with this cliffhanger. I hate it. Like, they couldn't have made another episode. Just anything. Give us anything. A breadcrumb. Anyways, Earl lays on his hospital bed, realizing that he no longer has anything, and starts to reflect on his life. That's when he watches a TV show and learns about this thing called karma.
Karma. there it was.
This simple concept is what changes his whole life. What goes around, comes around. When Earl gets out of the hospital, he and his brother Randy check into a rundown motel, and this is where the set for each character is, where they live, who they're with, and how they all kind of got there. Honestly, whoever was in charge of all these sets and locations did such an amazing job, in my opinion. I absolutely love it. Then we meet our last kind of side main character, Catalina, who works at the motel as a maid and made quick friends with Randy and Earl. Anyways, Earl is standing in the hotel room, and this is when Earl has his mental breakdown and shows Randy the list of every bad thing he has ever done. The list is kind of like the driving force for this show. Every episode usually starts out with Earl seeing or running into someone that reminds him of something on his list. He then goes to seek out that person and try to make amends in some way. Usually that person wants nothing to do with him for obvious reasons, but Earl just kind of stays persistent and eventually does end up helping them in some way. He then gets to cross them off his list, and that's usually how every episode ends. But anyways, while Earl is picking up trash from the motel parking lot, his lost lottery ticket floats in and lands perfectly on his shoe. And of course, he takes this as a sign that the karma thing is working. Which, to be honest with you, if I lost a $100,000 lottery ticket and then it suddenly appeared in front of me after a few days just because I did something good, I would 100% believe in karma. Are you kidding me? That's like a 1 in a million chance. Anyways, he takes that money and decides that he's gonna use it to help aid him in righting all his wrongs. Then he starts off by helping somebody from his list, a guy named Kenny, who he used to bully all the time in school. Earl doesn't know where Kenny lives, so he sends Randy to the guy's parents' house to try and find out where he lives now. Earl gives him 4 beers because apparently he's perfect at lying with only 4 beers and no more, or else he can get unpredictable. And with that setup, I can't imagine what could go wrong. Randy, of course, starts out strong, but they offer him a beer, so things go south. But at least Randy got the address. Well, kind of. While he was running away, he sweated off the last digit of the number. So they basically just sit on this guy's street trying to figure out which house is his. And when they finally figure out which house is his, Earl then just stalks him for a few days, which isn't creepy at all. I mean, he's just staring straight into his window for like a week. So after stalking this poor man, Earl decides that the way to make amends is by getting him laid. So he sets him up with a prostitute. Like, that's one thought. You didn't want to go through others? It obviously didn't work, because who would just sleep with a random lady that just burst into your house? Earl then goes to talk to Kenny, and he of course runs in fear because this is the man he hasn't seen in years who used to bully him all the time. But Earl just follows him inside to try to talk to him. But then Randy finds something. Plot twist, you guys. He's gay. Earl and Randy then back away slowly and run away. Which, if you did this in real life, you are like the biggest asshole. And like running away like he's gonna come get you or something. Earl explains that he knows it was dramatic, but that living in a small town, he had never met a gay guy before. This is also supposed to kind of show you another way that Earl learns a lesson throughout this episode. So I get it. But anyways, Earl then says that he can't help Kenny because he's gay. And I mean, like, homophobic much? But when he gets back to his room at the motel, he finds it ransacked by Joy, who found out that he won the lottery and wants the money. Obviously, Earl doesn't give her the money, and Joy leaves.
Hey, Earl. Hey, Crabman.
I also love that, like, when Joy leaves, he sees Darnell in the car and they like wave at each other. I love that no matter what, Darnell and Earl are like always cool with each other. I think in real life that probably wouldn't happen, but in terms of the show, I just love it. I love that they're just always cool with each other. Anyways, Earl takes this as karma for not wanting to help Kenny, and he realizes that no matter who the person is, they deserve to be helped. So he goes back to try and make amends. And how does he do this, you might ask? Well, he just sneaks into Kenny's house in the middle of the night before Kenny gets home and just stands there when he opens the door. And I'm pretty sure that this would give anyone a fucking heart attack. Kenny then tries to spray Earl, but instead ends up spraying himself with the mace, and then he runs into a wall. Like, this poor guy can't win. Earl then helps him recover and then tells him about his list and what he's trying to do. Kenny then kind of opens up to Earl, and Earl tries his best to not be homophobic. And I mean, what more can you ask for? Earl asks him what he could do to help him and make amends, and Kenny says that he really wants to go to a gay bar, but that he's too scared to go on his own. Earl kind of begrudgingly says that he will take Kenny to the gay bar, and Kenny, of course, is shocked, but very grateful. Earl drags Randy with them because he says he doesn't want to be the only straight guy at a gay bar, but I think there are just as many straight guys at gay bars as there are gay guys, just saying. Earl then tries to help set Kenny up with one of the guys there, but Kenny kind of pulls him back and tells him that he's already grateful for Earl bringing him to the bar in the first place, and that he should be the one to go and talk to the guys. This is kind of when Earl learns that helping people doesn't always mean doing absolutely everything for them, but helping them express something or realize something for themselves. And then Earl kind of gets a lesson that just because they're gay doesn't mean they're any different from them, as Randy dances to his favorite song with one of them. And that's the first episode. It's a really fun show about righting wrongs and dealing with the ex who wants his money, and at the same time being on pretty decent terms with her and her new husband. And this show definitely gets a little crazy, but in all of the best ways. Also, the guy who plays Kenny and also the prostitute who is named Patty in the show, they're both reoccurring characters on this show, and they are just so perfect. It's just like this that they got the casting right. Even these reoccurring characters that aren't part of the show permanently but come back all the time, they just so perfectly fit into the universe that they made. This show gets a little crazy, but in all the best ways. I really recommend you watch this episode and the rest of the series. In many ways, this is a show that could have gone on forever because Earl was constantly adding new things to his list that he had forgotten. Honestly, I'm surprised it could even all fit on one piece of paper. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!